This is our mentor, Amy Porterfield.
Well, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. It's always so fun to get to chat with people who are in it, doing it. They get it. Like, you get the power of digital courses, you understand online marketing. So it's so fun to pitch and catch with people like you. And I've been watching what you all are doing online. It's incredible. I'm such a fan. So thanks for having me.
Well, thanks. Thanks for taking the time to be on too. I mean, this really is, as Kaylee was saying, one of our dreams to have you on and to talk to you. So,
Oh, so glad we're doing it.
Yeah. So we had a few questions.
Yeah. Because we've talked about Digital Course Academy for a couple of years now. So this time around, we just asked our email list, like, hey, if you could talk to Amy, like, what would you ask her? So they came up with 5 questions that seemed like we kept getting them over and over again.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
The first one, so if they're thinking about creating a course, these seem to be the worry points. So the first one was like, what do you need in order to launch a course and be successful? They were worried. Do you need a blog? Do you need a big email? Do you need a big following on Instagram or TikTok? Or can you just start with a course?
I love that you call them the worry questions, because I'm a worrier by nature and I worry about everything. So I totally get it 100%. So when you're thinking about creating a digital course, you definitely want to have a few things, a few foundational pieces in place. The beauty of creating a digital course is that you can get that foundation set up as you create your course. So a lot of people that start to work with me and they want to create a digital course, they've never done it before, so they're starting from scratch, and they also don't have an email list. So one of the things that I always teach when I teach digital course creation is also how to grow an email list, because the two go hand in hand. Because I can't sugarcoat it. You can't create a course and then not have an audience and think that people are going to buy it, right?
Right.
But list building tends to be that thing that stops people in their tracks. It tends to be heavy, kind of scary, unclear. So the thing that I always tell my students is, your goal is to get your first 100 people on your email list. That's the first milestone I want you to go for. And then I usually say somewhere around 250, 300 would be your next milestone. And your third milestone is 500. So I like to work in baby steps. Now, the reason I say 100 is because many of my students have launched courses with great success to a list of 100 engaged quality people on their list. I'm thinking about Rob Green. He's a photographer. And he decided to launch his very first digital course during COVID, never had launched a course before. And he created a course on flash photography. So not about everything he knows about courses, just flash photography, or everything he knows about photography. Right. Not that, just flash photography. And he had 100 people on his email list, launched his course, and made $12,000. That's a lot of money, $12,000. And so you don't need a big email list, but you do need an audience. And I believe social media isn't enough. It's a great place to start, but let's start growing social as well as your email list while you start to develop your course. So that's one thing. Another thing I often get asked, like you said, is, do I need a podcast or a blog or a video show? And you don't necessarily need that for your course to be successful, but I can tell you that it makes things a whole lot easier. So if you start to decide, where am I going to post my original content on a weekly basis, or however often you want to do it, I do believe having your blog or a podcast or maybe a weekly video that you do on, even on social, something where you're putting out original content, it's valuable because it brings people into your world. Because how are you going to grow that audience if you don't have a place that you're putting out original content? Yeah. So it's not necessary to launch the course. It's just a really good thing to think about adding to your business over time as you're building the business in general. So those two, the email list and a platform, I think they're important to have and important to consider. Other than that, is there anything else included in that question? Like, well, let me back up a little bit. So what do you need to have to get ready to create a digital course? Well, one, you have to have a really good why, because it can get confusing at times. Just like anything new, you're going to kind of stumble your way through and try to figure it out as you go. And all of us do that. So if you say, like for me, I wanted to create digital courses because I did not want to work a 9-to-5 job. I didn't want to be told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. I wanted nothing to do with that anymore. I'd been in corporate for over 10 years. I was done. And so when things got tough or I got confused, I thought, okay, what's the alternative? Going back to my 9 to 5 job? I'm not going to do that. So let's figure this out and let's stumble our way through it till it's easier. So really knowing why you want to do it, if you want to bring in extra revenue, if you want to have that side hustle, if you want to grow your business, whatever it is, get clear so that when it gets a little confusing, just like anything else, you still stay in the game.
Yeah, definitely. So when somebody specifically asked if they had like 250 people, if those are 250 people that know and like and trust you, like that would be enough to kind of get started, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do not think that you need a big email list to have success with digital courses. 250 people. Now, here's the trick. When you start getting people on your email list, I want you to nurture that list so that when you're ready to launch your course, they've been hearing from you consistently. So if you've got 10 people on your email list or 250 people on your email list, I want you to be reaching out to them weekly with a quick tip or some value or a story or some kind of way to connect with them so that they are used to hearing from you and opening up your emails so that when you're ready to sell, they're opening up those emails, they're clicking the link, they're buying your course.
And it's really important to develop that trust that way. Because if you're emailing them or meeting with them on your platform, they know you just like you knew us and we know you, but we've never met. We trust each other because
exactly. I love that you said that because when you are putting out original content and you're adding value and you're engaging with your audience, they feel as though they know you. And that's where that know, like, and trust factor comes into play. So you're right. In order for someone to buy from you, they need to be hearing from you consistently and knowing that you're there for them. So that's why it's so great to grow an audience while you create your course so you have time to create that relationship with them.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And there's something different about an email relationship. I feel like over like Instagram, like there's just, I don't know, like I'll check my email like in bed or something. Like it just feels more personable and you have more room to talk.
You're
like in an
so
email.
right. You're so right. I always say that you don't want to just grow your business on rented land. You know, Mark Zuckerberg owns you if you're all on Instagram and Facebook and that's the only platform you have. But you own that email list. That is yours. And you're right. You can have a more in-depth, deeper conversation through email. They can respond back to you. But more importantly, you can express yourself in ways that make you unique. And you can't always do that in a short little caption on social. So I love both, but I think both are essential. Again, social media is not enough.
Yeah, totally agree. So the third question somebody asked, if they don't have a specific topic in mind for a course, will DCA help me come up with it?
Ooh, I love this question. So the short answer is absolutely yes. But actually, I'm going to be doing a boot camp coming up in the near future. And the first thing that I'm going to teach in this boot camp, and the boot camp is for anybody who's thinking about creating a digital course. They're just not really sure if it's right for them or their business or if they have what it takes to create the course. So one of the very first things I do is help people come up with their course topic. Because once you have your course topic, you should feel very confident that the other things that you're going to do start to fall into place more easily because you know what you're going to create. And so the way I teach it, I won't give it all away here, but I'll give you a little hint, is that there's 4 quadrants that you need to look at in order to find your sweet spot. And your sweet spot is that digital course that lights you up, that people will pay for, that your audience needs. And so I take you through an exercise to really figure out what that is. Some people come into my boot camp and they have 10 ideas they want to explore. Others come in and have 0 ideas. They're like, could I really do this? And I always say, everybody has a digital course in them. Whether you want to teach something that you personally have gotten results with, or if you want to teach something related to the business that you're creating, you could have a side hustle, it could be your full-time thing, but your digital course, I promise you, is in you already. And what I say is you just need the 10% edge, which is you want to be 10% ahead of those that you serve. That means you've gotten results for yourself or for somebody else, a family member, a friend, a spouse, a client, whoever it might be, and you're willing to teach the roadmap of how you got there. So once you lay it out, step 1, step 2, step 3, and you can get them results, whether they be huge results or really small getting started results, it all counts. And so everyone has a course in them. It's just coming up with that course topic that really lights you up. So absolutely, I teach that.
All right, cool. And I love the boot camp because it's kind of like, I don't know. I know it takes a little bit of that scared, like, all right,
Mhm.
I'm just going to go for it. A little confidence, imposter syndrome. You go through all those things in the boot camp. It's just like, even if you just go in with the mindset of like, I'm just going to stop saying like, I should do this. I should look into this. I'm going to do that next year. Like, if you'll just go ahead and commit, you can see what it's going to do, like how big it could be
I
and how you
love
could do it.
that.
Yeah.
I love that because a lot of people will get into my program, Digital Course Academy, and they'll say, I was going to join 2 years ago. I was
Yeah.
scared to
Yep.
take the leap. I wasn't sure if I was ready. I wish I started sooner. So I thought, let me do this boot camp and just help people get their feet wet and see if this is something they want to do. And if it is, they can take the bigger leap with me. But if not, then now they know. But
Yeah.
this waiting game of not knowing, that doesn't feel good. It feels like, oh, I'm on the fence and no one wants to be there. So yeah, the boot camp is a really fun way to dip your toe in the water and see if this is for you.
Yeah. Totally agree.
I think that actually helps with the next question. It says, what if you know many things or how to figure out how to do something in your business, but you don't feel like an expert? Any tips on getting to the place where you feel like you can teach others?
Yes. Okay. I love this question. So I always tell my students, and I have hundreds and hundreds of success stories to back this up. You do not need to be the expert of all experts. You do not need tons of certification or years of education in order for you to be worthy of teaching inside of a digital course. So imagine that you are talking to a great girlfriend and she just ran a marathon and you've always wanted to run a marathon, but you're just like, I can't even walk a mile without getting winded at this point. So running a marathon feels like very, very obscure to me. And what if she said, let me show you exactly how I did it. I'm going to walk you through step by step. I'm going to share with you what I ate, what my habits were, how I did it, what running shoes I used. I'm going to just tell you everything I did because I completed this and I only trained for 3 months and it was the best experience of my life. You'd be like, tell me everything.
Mhm.
You're not going to ask her, wait a second, what kind of certification do you have in
Yeah.
to be teaching me what kind I should buy? Like, we don't do that. We want to learn from people who have gotten results and we can follow their roadmap. So you think about creating a digital course for your best friend who wants to know all the things that you know, because at the end of the day, they want the results that you got and you know how to get those results.
Right.
So you do not need more time. You do not need more training. You already have a course in you. All you need to do is believe that you're worthy of teaching it. That's where most of my students get stuck. They don't believe they're ready or worthy, or who am I to be teaching
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Or
Why
what
would
are
they
people
ask
going to
me?
think of me?
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
comes up a lot.
Yeah.
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 I
And I mean, I think that I know for us, like it was kind of like we wanted to, like, you need to start with a glass of water versus trying to like fill up the ocean. Like, so much. Like, I think sometimes it's like, well, that's going to be too daunting to teach.
Mhm.
But with the boot camp, even you could get it narrowed down to like just flash photography instead of, trying to hit everything like newborns to, weddings to everything else. Get
Oh,
really
I'm so glad you brought this up. So I'll teach this in the boot camp, but one of the things I talk about is the 3 different types of courses. So you've got a starter course, then a spotlight course, and a signature course. And these are 3 different types of courses based on how deep you want to go into your content, what results that you're promising, and how much you want to charge. And I'll get into all the details in the boot camp. But for those watching now, if you decide on the type of course, it will instantly help you figure out what topic you want to create, what the topic is, but more so how deep you want to go with that. And
Yeah.
that way you don't feel like, am I adding enough? Am I not adding enough? Should I tell this story? Should I not? So when I teach you how to choose the type, it will also allow you to have more of a model around what you want to teach.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved that part of the boot camp.
Mhm.
And also like when other people ask, like, what should I give? What do I teach? I like to, what are you already sharing with, what do people come to
Yeah.
you and ask? Like, what do you eat? How do you work out? Like you're already sharing that kind of stuff. So
It's so true. I just was on a call with my friend. Her name's Terry, and she has a company called Trade and Travel, and she teaches people how to do short-term trading in stocks. And she started teaching in person. She was really good at it. She retired, or not retired. She left a job, started doing this full time because she's so good at it, trading stocks. And then everyone's like, teach me how you did it. So she started just to do little workshops in person. And then she realized, oh my gosh, they keep asking me more. They want more. They're actually getting results. And that's when she realized this isn't scalable. Let's put it into a digital course. But she paid attention to what are people constantly asking her about. And then she also paid attention to the fact that she really loved teaching it. She never thought that that would become a huge revenue maker for her, but she actually loved teaching the topic. So you're so right. Pay attention to what people are asking you about, what they want to know about, what they're impressed by what you've been able to do. And it might surprise you. You might think you want to build a business around XYZ, but then people are like, how are you meal prepping? How do you do that so quickly and under, within a budget? And you're like, wait a second, I didn't even realize this was a thing, but I want to teach this.
Yeah.
Start simple with what you know and what you have, and it will always build into something bigger if you're passionate about it.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's what lights you up. You're talking about it all the time. You take it for granted that other people know this.
Yes. Yes, that's so true. A lot of people won't create the course because they think, well, everyone knows how to do this. We're like, no, it's just so easy to you. You think everyone knows how to do it. So I don't even think there's anything too simple in terms of creating a course. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and the first course he created was how to use Trello, which is like a project management tool. And he didn't realize that not everybody knew the tips and tricks of Trello. He didn't create the software. He just created a course teaching how to use it and made great money. Again, it's simpler than you think.
Yes. And I think one thing that we noticed was we talked to like 2 or 3 friends that like we admired, but we also knew that maybe we were like, 10% ahead of like where they were in their journey. And like, we just hopped on the phone, and then like, we found so many little things like what you're talking about, like, oh, we could show you how to set up like an automated email. Or we could show you how to like plan your day with some time blocks. And like, it was just those little things that you don't think about.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does.
And then the last question was, how do you let people know that you have a course without being salesy? Which we get asked this all the time. And I'm like, did we seem salesy? Like, and they're like, no, I
Great
love
question.
you, but how do I do that? I'm like we did.
It's so true. It's so true. So anyone who's in your audience and they're like, how do I not seem salesy? You two are such a great example. You believe in what you do. You live by it. You love to teach it. So when you present your offers, it's like, of course I'm going to present my offers. I know I can help you. So it comes down to believing that you know what you have is the next logical step for your audience. One of the things I teach in Digital Course Academy is, as you girls know, how to do webinars. And I teach very specific slide by slide by slide exactly how to do it. And the reason I put the time into that is because when you teach on a webinar, you're giving immense value. So no matter if they buy or not, they walk away from that webinar feeling like they got what you promised you'd give them. So now that trust is built. Maybe they didn't buy today, but maybe they'll buy next time. But more so than that, you delivered on your promise, which you should feel really good. And from there, I feel like you earn the right to sell. So I know this kind of sounds silly, and some salespeople would be like, you don't have to earn your right. In my mind, I do. I got to do a good job of offering free value first and then easing them into, here's your next logical step. So when I do webinars, I put my heart into that, so that when I'm ready to sell, I think this is the perfect transition for them. They are ready for this now. They have a new understanding. Now let's get to work. So it feels like a perfect transition. It never feels awkward to me, but you have to believe that you have something that could actually get them results. And remember, you do. If you've gotten results for yourself or someone else, you know you can help somebody else get those results as well. So it's believing in yourself and believing in the product. Also, there's a way to invite people in without being like, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. And that comes down to a lot of the free stuff that you put out there to build that loyalty, that transitions into you eventually selling. So all that stuff you do to grow your email list, post on social, maybe a podcast or a blog, all of that is leading the way for you to sell more easily. That's why that stuff is so incredibly important.
Yeah, I totally agree. One thing that we had to get over was like, when we would buy something, we were like, oh, well, I'm just going to pull a nugget from this, a nugget from that, and a little thing from this, and I'll figure it out. And then it's just like, that takes so much time. And so it would just be nice, like, just like people buy HelloFresh or like something that's a meal delivery. It's already made. I don't know, like I just feel like it's so nice that you're able to offer something that's convenient for somebody. That's
Oh,
helps me like think about it. Like it saves them so much time too.
We've
I
already pulled the
love that.
nuggets. Yeah.
What's that?
We've already pulled the nuggets and put it all in one place.
Exactly. And I'm going to have to use that example in the future. HelloFresh is a great example of they could go to the grocery store and find those products. They could go online and find a recipe. They could, run all over town and do what they need to do. But it's the convenience and it's the sequence that HelloFresh is saying, do this first, do that next, where you pay for that convenience and that specificity like that.
Mhm.
And that's what a course is all about. If you want to hunt and peck all over the web about how to create and launch a digital course, I'm sure you could piece it together. Two things. One, it's going to take you a lot of time and effort, and time is money. But number two, you might also be learning from someone who's never had success in what they do. So whether you learn from me or someone else, always, if you want to do something really well in your business, find someone who's gone before you. Follow their model if they're willing to share it with you, because it fast tracks everything. I've been investing in digital courses before I left my job at Tony Robbins. I've always said I'm going to learn how to do it from people that have gone before me, so I don't waste my time or energy or second guessing myself at every turn. So I'm a really big proponent of investing in yourself and investing in your business.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I just want to throw it out. Like if somebody's on the fence, you like, I think everything you said is there. And then also your teaching style is like wonderful. Like if you are an audio learner, you can hear it. If you are a visual learner, it's video. If you do better with like pen and paper, like you can print off all the worksheets and like write on them. Like I think that goes a long way too, because just because someone's gotten there doesn't mean that they're able to teach it. And you do teach it really well. Like it's just very organized. It's really good.
So appreciate you saying so. I feel like that's like the biggest compliment you could give me. And here's what I think is special about what I get to do. So I create these courses like Digital Course Academy. You're right. There's video, there's audio, there's tons of PDF guides walking them through step by step. But everything I do in that course, I teach to my students. So you get to see an example of it by me delivering the course, but then I talk about why I did it or how I did it or how they can do it, or I give them a template so they don't have to start from scratch. And I think it's like the coolest thing. I just re-recorded this entire program to make it fresh and new for 2022. And afterwards I looked at my team and I'm like, this is so good. And I know it's just not me. My team has helped. So it's not me just bragging, but it's so good. And we don't leave any stone unturned, because most people coming into my world have never done this. So they need a virtual hand holder. They need someone who cares that they actually, I'm not going to assume you know stuff that you don't know. So I do think it's a very special experience.
Yes. I just have to second that. 'Cause for me, it was really important, because I know when I went into the Digital Course Academy, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. So I really liked the step by step. You did hold my hand through the whole process. So anybody can do it if they, put forth that effort.
And you didn't like waste any time. I can't imagine, like, I'm so excited to go like back through it now because, like you have refilmed it, because everything, like, you're not just like, well, hold on, honey, or something like, or here's my dog. Like you're get to the point, like,
get to the point. I figure people don't have a lot of time. So we got to take out all the fluff. So we made it even tighter this time around. So I appreciate you saying so.
So I think that's going to be big for people, just because they're, they want to get it made and get it promoted and all of that. So
let's get going. They've
got
important things to put out into the world.
Yes.
So, well, thank you so much for taking the time to answer these questions. I know they're going to be so excited, and it just shows like how much you do care, and that this is like not just a business, but it's an act of love. I feel like every time that you launch this and share it with people.
I love that you said that. It is an act of love. I feel very passionate. And the funny thing is, I'm not necessarily just passionate about digital courses. Of course, I talk about them all day long, and I could talk about them in my sleep, and I love them. But at the end of the day, I'm passionate about digital courses because ultimately, I want more people to experience what freedom feels like in their life and in their business. And working one-on-one, so many of my students love doing that, but to an extent. They know they can only make so much money, go only so far if they're working one-on-one with clients. But adding a digital course opens up an entire new world for you. And there's so many different ways. It could be your side hustle, your full-time thing, and complement to the one-on-one coaching. So many different options. So I hope your audience will at least join us in the boot camp, kind of experiment what it looks like for them. I think it's going to be a really good time.
It's totally worth the time.
Yes. If you want to check out the boot camp, you can go to kimandkaylee.com/DCA. And if you hold on to that link, just hold on to that link. There might be some good stuff coming.
Perfect. You never know what might be coming down the pipeline. Ladies, thanks so much for this. It's always fun chatting with you, and I really appreciate it.